Welcome to another episode of Angels, Positivity, and Love. Here we are in 2024. Another fabulous guest, this time from Costa Rica, American Beth Greer, already best-selling author, spoken at South by Southwest, holistic wellness advocate. She's done journalism, whether it's magazines, radio, shows. She's also been a guest on a lot of places. She's working on her next book. She had I'll have to use my words here. She had a miraculous situation where she had a tumor, not a great thing to have, but didn't use drugs and didn't use surgery to address it. So a holistic approach. She's going to tell us about that in just a second. But Beth, welcome from Costa Rica.
Great, thanks. Great to be here. I'm hoping that my power stays on for a while. It tends to go on and off here. So
yes, let there be light. We've got storms coming as well here in San Antonio. For everyone out there, can you crash course us into your life path? Something big happened. What were the details? How did you handle it?
sure. So I was running a multinational company called the Learning Annex, where I was meeting, celebrities like Deepak Chopra and Marianne Williamson and, you name it, any best-selling author coming through town. And we were in 6 cities, including Canada, up in Toronto. So I thought I was like, crushing it, leading a healthy lifestyle. And I didn't realize how stressed I was, but I got this pain in my shoulder, and long story short, went to a chiropractor who told me I needed an MRI. MRI showed I had a mass in my chest, and it was big. It was, the size of my fist pretty much. And I thought, how could this happen to me? I just thought I was doing everything right. I was meditating, for God's sake. I would bring my staff into my office every day for 20-minute TM meditation. And I just thought, I got it handled. So anyway, went to 3 top surgeons. I was living in the Bay Area in San Francisco. They tell me that I need to have surgery and it needs to be quick. First, they did a needle biopsy. They said it wasn't cancerous, but it could turn cancerous at any minute. So, the fear factor kicks up. So then the first surgeon says, well, I'm going to cut you under your collarbone to get it out. And then I go to a second one. He said, no, I'm going to cut you under your armpit to get it out. And then the third one, I remember UC said to me, no, we're going to remove one of your ribs from the back and I'm going to put mesh in there. And he goes, I'm going to heal you. He actually used those words. And I just thought, wow, I don't want any of this. And I figured I had some time. This isn't cancer. Let me see what I can do. So I went on this healing journey and I detoxed from what I was putting in my body, because I thought I was eating healthy. I really wasn't. I was eating out almost every day, running this business, to what I was putting on my skin. I looked at my makeup and deodorant and all that, had all these paragraph worth of chemicals in them. And what I was cleaning my home with, like if you look in the box, back of a label of Windex, for example, it says, precautionary statement, hazardous to humans and domestic animals. And I realized I was full of toxins. So I went on this cleanse and I first, looked at what I was eating and drinking, then putting on my skin, cleaning. And it took about 6 months. And I was working with a naturopathic doctor as well to help me detox. And pain went away. And then a few months later, I decided to have this tumor scanned again, and it had disappeared. It was gone. And it was such a wake-up call to me, that I didn't need conventional medicine. Our bodies are self-healing if we kind of get out of its way and let it do its healing. And the big thing for me was realizing how we're exposed to so many toxins, in our everyday products. And now, this is 20 years ago, right? Now they're like spraying the skies with stuff and more chemicals and additives in our foods and GMOs. And so it's even more important to become aware of everything we're surrounded by for healing.
And that awareness is even broader now. You've seen a lot of different movements out there. It's not the same as when this all happened. Can you take us through a little bit of that? You've got the True Vitality Project. You've got other interests as well, including your book, Supernatural Home, I believe it was called. It did very well. Can you take us through some of that, how it's developed over the decades?
Yeah, so I realized that I thought with my book that it would get better. Like I thought this would educate people and it would get better, like that there would be less chemicals used and all that, but it's actually they've ramped it up. And I think that people are unaware how exposed they are to things. And what I'm noticing is that people out of the blue are suddenly getting sick. So just yesterday, a friend called me, she's an influencer on YouTube and all this, and she's a physical fitness nut, and she's slim and muscular and healthy. And she's like, oh my God, I'm having these horrible pains in my stomach, the burning. And I went to it had an endoscope, and no one knows what's wrong with me and all this stuff. It's fascinating to me to watch. And this is just one of many of my friends who are suffering now from aches and pains and fatigue. And I think part of it is that they think that they're doing everything right. Like I did. I thought I was leading a healthy lifestyle, but so much of the food, I've noticed that even though she's so healthy and works out all the time, that the food that she was eating, like I'd go to her home and they'd have, frozen this and processed that, and drinks, like Gatorade stuff that she wasn't even aware that she's exposing herself to artificial colors. And then she had scented candles that I actually, when I sat down at the table, I said, really, I can't be around the scent. Artificial scent has hundreds of chemicals from a lab in there. It's not like crushed up roses that are put into wax, hundreds of things. So from our everyday products, all the scents, aside from the candles, the scented hair products and the perfume and scented garbage bags, and just you name it, all the stuff starts to impact our hormone system, our health, our digestive system. It's a stressor to the body. I really believe that, we're so out of touch with nature. It's one of the reasons I moved to Costa Rica, to be in touch with nature and walk on the land. And, I actually swam in a river last week for the first time in my life, freezing cold, but it was so exhilarating. And I realized, what I had been missing all these years, being in rooms that are just air conditioned and bombarded with electromagnetic radiation, on a constant basis. We get so used to it, carrying around our cell phones all the time. That's another big one. And, each generation of cell phones, they're getting stronger and stronger and stronger. So people carry them around, women wear them in their bras and all that. It's something to really think about. I think we're kind of lost touch with. I mean, I feel like I'm lucky. I'm in my 70s now, and I feel like I grew up in an era where we didn't have cell phones. And, I went to college, we talked to people, and now, you look at a college campus and everyone's just like on their phones. So it's a different world, and it's important to pay attention.
Can you share with us Costa Rica? Describe the land for us, the ocean, the jungle, and also how it's been growing your awareness since moving from Florida.
What happened was I came to visit here for vacation last January, and I could feel immediately a sense of calm and a lack of interference. It's hard to describe. It's just it's a sense of, like in the US, I was feeling like scrambled energy. And I remember, like in Florida, the roads all had these giant cement electrical poles, as far as the eye could see. Almost every avenue, every street is filled with this stuff. And on my street, in front of my house, there were two light fixtures that already have like 5G stuff coming out and lights. And here it doesn't have that. And so what I noticed immediately, which was really profound, my mom, who died at 100, she passed in 2017. I got messages from her on a daily basis. I mean, this never happened to me before. So, I remember being on a boat and I said, okay, Mom, I want to see something I've never seen jump out of the ocean. And it was just sort of like this thought that came to me, and I waited, and about 2 minutes later, all of a sudden, silverfish comes out, and it's being chased by this other fish. And like everyone on the boat turns around, it's like, what? It was unbelievable, just like, and it went on for minutes upon minutes. So at that point I thought, okay, I want to buy some land here. And I found a house that I really liked, and I was inside the house and I said, okay, Mom, should I buy this house? And all of a sudden a butterfly lands on my cheek inside the house, like the doors weren't even open. It's like, I mean, I could just go on and on and on about how many synchronicities would happen here. I would be on I was, remember, before we got here, I was watching a TV show with Zac Efron, and he had this segment on Costa Rica, and he was interviewing this guy, Steve, I can't remember his name right now. But anyway, we're here 2 days, go to this cafe, there's Steve sitting there. It's like, oh my God, I just saw you on, on TV with Zac Efron. It was just uncanny. And he didn't even live there. His place was 6 hours away from where we were renting. He just was like driving through and stopped at the same cafe that I was at, like at that moment. So, I mean, I don't know, I started writing down, I mean, there's another story where this woman had asked me to come. She said, could you do me a favor? I was in Florida. She said, we met online. I was looking for a dog that hadn't been vaccinated. So somehow I connected with her, and she said, I'll help you. So she said to me, could you do me a favor and buy me some fabric? I want to make a dress for somebody here. So I said, sure. So I go to the store, I buy this fabric. It's kind of a white meshy fabric. And we meet, I give it to her. And then we were supposed to go on this whale watching trip, and she gets a call and she said, I can't go on this trip with you. I just got called away because this tapir, this mama tapir with 2 babies, was just struck by a car, and I need to go help it. So she leaves, and then like a few hours later, she says to me, she shows me pictures. She said, it was like 1,000-pound tapir. I didn't know how to move it. I was there with one other person. She said, and then I remembered your fabric. So I took the fabric and I wrapped it around and was able to pull it to the side of the road with the fabric that I brought her. It's like another one of those kind of miracle stories. So I don't know, it just felt like this is a place I want to be in, where these sort of magical things happen almost daily.
Okay, so you're on your spiritual journey. I'd make the argument that everyone is on their path, unique life path. They just might not know it. You only have to slow down, pay a little more attention. You can have it defined for you by the universe a little more directly if you're willing to go there. And that's just here. And I'll add, what else can I add? Positivity is abundance, grow your awareness, like you've been talking about, not your thinking. We've got enough of that going on to sink a ship. And that's going to be normal for all of us. We're still going to do thinking and judging and all the rest. How do you remind yourself to just keep it light, keep moving forward, trusting the path? Is it daily practices, just sort of a deep inner faith, religious, non-religious faith, whatever you want to call it, letting go?
Yeah, well, Costa Rica is a great place to let go, because there's this kind of phrase here called pura vida. And so, people say they're going to show up and then they don't. I'm used to, like, I'm from New York. I make appointments, you show up, and people don't show up, and then maybe they'll come 7 hours later, or I'll call and say, well, you didn't come, and it's like, oh, sorry, or sometimes they didn't even say sorry. And I realized that I have to just go with the flow, otherwise I'll be upset all the time, and I don't want to be that way. So there's that. The environment is kind of facilitating that. The terrain is facilitating that. The roads have potholes, so it's like, there's not smooth roads here, very few. And so it's just, you gotta laugh, because otherwise I'm just going to be upset all the time. A practice that I do every day and often is where I just clear my energy, and I create this field where I envision, I do sort of it's called like a French press, where I imagine a French press coming down all the way through my body and pushing out everything that doesn't belong there. And then I fill myself up with first blue, and then I feel that, and then gold, and then blue again. And then I sort of feel like I'm set. I also like clear my home and try to elevate, bring gold into it.
Okay, so
So
what does the blue represent, or the gold, whatever version of that you can share to paint the picture more so people can appreciate the blue and gold extra?
I guess the blue is like the spiritual essence or the sacredness of life, and then the gold just adds like a sparkle, a sparkle. And I feel like my role here, I haven't quite gotten, who I am here exactly, but I do feel like my role here is to kind of share light and sort of elevate the situation and keep everything kind of uplifting and friendly, and not get into, there's a lot of people who will complain a lot, and I try not to get into that mindset. So easy to start complaining about everything, especially my friends back, on the West Coast. It's just like, get on the phone with them and they're just constantly complaining about stuff.
Yeah. Okay, tell us about the South by Southwest panel. It was either 2018, 2019 Holistic Wellness panel you were on. That must have been a pretty amazing experience in Austin, Texas, where we lived for 10 years. Tell us a little more about that.
I wasn't on a panel. I actually had the stage to myself. I talked about what goes in us, what goes on us, and what surrounds us, which is kind of, the simple version of paying attention to how we're impacted, on a daily basis. So, and one of the things that I've learned since the book came out and focusing on the next book is that the vitamins and supplements that I have been taking for years, now I'm doing research to discover that, these stuff, the raw ingredients are coming from big pharma. So, I basically have stopped all supplements except for essential minerals that I believe are very necessary: magnesium, potassium, selenium, molybdenum, like that. Because the stuff that I was taking, I think, was just really clogging up my liver. And I've now cut down. I was on, the only medication have been on for years has been a thyroid medication. I've cut that down to a quarter of what I was taking, and I feel fine. And I remember I go once a year to kind of annual checkup, whatever. And I said to the doctor, he does my blood work, and he goes, "Oh yeah, your thyroid looks great." And I said, "Yeah, I'm on half the amount." He goes, "Good." I said, "Yeah, I'm going to cut that in half too." And he goes, "Why would you want to do that?" I just thought, why not? Why live on a pharmaceutical if you don't have to?
Yeah.
So I'm allowing my thyroid to start to produce its own medicine there. So yeah, so I've been researching a lot about not only the chemicals in our foods and the additives and preservatives, but now the vitamins that I thought were so healthy, especially the natural ones. So it's been very eye-opening to see that they're not so great for us. And so I'm going to, expose all that in the book.
Are there vitamins though that are good for COVID, whether we're talking the shots themselves or recovering from COVID? If we're talking, I can't remember the name of it. It starts with the B. There's pineapple extract. There's this soybean one out of Japan, nitikinase or something. I can't pronounce it. And
right,
also
nattokinase and bromelain. You're talking
bromelain.
about
But there's still a third, the curcumin. I can't pronounce that either. The India spice.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
are those okay in your book for?
probably those are not, it's terrible, but I'm actually looking into vitamin D. Actually, everyone's saying how important it is to take, and there's research that's showing that I just forgot how to pronounce it. Anyway, I'll figure it out. But
Colon related?
No.
Oh.
Not colon related. It's the word for vitamin D that's found in rat poison, believe it or not.
Okay. So sunshine, get some sunshine outside is the best way.
Is the best way, or if you can't, get a sun lamp. Because it's important to produce vitamin D on our skin. But yeah. Now the other thing that I've discovered since the book are these LifeWave patches, and they are based on photobiomodulation, light therapy. And so they stimulate our own stem cells. So that's been phenomenal for me. Again, it's a holistic thing. They're non-transdermal. They don't have any vitamins or chemicals in there. It's stimulating. It's like the way the sun stimulates our skin to produce vitamin D. These patches will stimulate a peptide inside us that produces stem cells. And stem cells, we're filled with them as young babies and children, but as we age, they diminish. And when they diminish, we lose strength, we lose collagen, we lose cognitive ability, all that stuff. So it's been fantastic.
Okay, so talk to us too about the difference between what goes on above the neck. I'll call it thinking, judging, fear, worry, stress, all that stuff, which we can't help. I mean, welcome to being human, the eternal situation for all of us. But the opportunity for growth is always down here, whatever this is, the heart, unconditionality, love, what am I missing? Awareness, consciousness, unlove up here. Again, not judging it. We're going to be running around like we're in a NASCAR race all the time. But if you can once in a while do a pit stop, talk to us about the benefits of more here, less here, concrete thinking.
Right. I find that when I'm up here, I can get into a fear loop, and that's really bad for me, because I go to worst case scenario. That's kind of like the way I was raised, hypervigilant and all that. So if I can get out of that and get into my heart, and I'm reading a book called Radical Forgiveness by Colin Tipping. He's fantastic. And I'm realizing, I've been through this experience where I felt hurt by somebody, and I realized that this was a huge gift for me. And, to get out of the victim role of, oh my God, they did this to me. Why, why me, blah, blah, blah. And realize that we each play a role, and that we decided before coming and incarnating here that we had made an agreement to be each other's, rubbing the pearl and rubbing in the oyster, getting the sand in the oyster, rubbing to get the pearl. So I feel like that's been a really good, it's a good message for me to remember and not take things so personally.
You just gave me a metaphor, which is when you run into someone who's shut tight like a pearl, like Ebenezer Scrooge, don't forget, shut tight like an oyster, and total Ebenezer Scrooge. Like if you had a judging contest, it was on a stage, a reality program, we'd all agree that person's a jerk, and maybe they didn't behave the greatest towards you. There still could be a pearl inside that oyster. So try not to judge. And you don't have to force the oyster open. It's more of a metaphorical pearl. With that, how have you been handling interactions with other people? Have you found that you're streamlining how you roll with your energy now? You're paying attention to who you're interacting with a little bit more?
Yeah, definitely. I think that, here, coming here, I met this couple. They could be my kids. He's like 40, she's 39, and we become best friends. It's kind of interesting. And I realized, we laugh all the time. We're texting each other all the time. I want to be around people like that. I don't care how old they are. And they clearly don't care that I'm old enough to be their mother. They don't treat me that way. We're just friends. And I want to be around people that I get this good feeling from. And so, there are people that I meet who I just don't resonate with. And instead of questioning it or forcing it or thinking, well, they seem like a nice person, I'm just going to push through. I'll just say, okay, I'm not going to go in this direction. I don't want to spend my time with somebody who I'm not aligned with, I guess. So it's really important for me to be with good people who lift me up and I lift them up. And, that's what it's all about.
I love it. Okay. I'm going to blow some sage, lit sage from Texas to Costa Rica. Everyone's done this on the show. We did it before the show, but for the audience at home, if this is your first time watching, by the way, guests do take steps often with Angels on Air. I put a photo up. Please subscribe, like, share, and comment. You can catch the smell of sage. It's just your heart's already kind of plugged into the whole universe. So you just have to step out of thinking, don't worry about any of this. Give your schnoggin a rest even. It's more the Zen thing, seeing without seeing, they say, or listening without hearing is an expression in the local, in the recent Shogun series on FX, if you like TV. But the bottom line is there's something beyond thinking that's when life kicks in, love kicks in, serendipity, synchronicity. That's the stuff I'd like to talk about next. Manifesting, synchronicity, serendipity, allowing, whatever you want to call it. How do you bring in more fun? Or let's do it an American way. How do we get out of our own way to let the universe do its job and to enjoy a smoother path in life, minus the potholes on the Costa Rican roads? I'm going to light this sage. I'm going to use a red-tailed hawk feather, such feather said here. And I'm going to light the sage. You, if you're super intuitive, you're going to catch this as soon as I start lighting it. Don't worry about it. Some people taste it on their mouth. There's no one way about any of this. Now, if you're super intuitive, already getting it somehow, wait for the smoke. Ask for flowers on top of the sage. Why not? Lorna Byrne didn't smell the sage in Ireland. She smelled daisies and roses. Jennifer McLean, the 35-year healer, caught the sage in 3 types of flowers. So go crazy.
No, I smell sage and lavender.
Nice. And why don't you close your eyes and have your invisible cheerleading squad, whether you want to call it angels, universe, light beings, your relatives, the whole gaggle. I'm being loosey-goosey today. Have the gaggle come in and do light on your eyes. Maybe you can get golden and blue light. And with that, you can also close your eyes and have your crew give you a lead in to the manifesting serendipity synchronicity topic, because that is a great one for all of us. It's kind of already built into our navigation system, but how do we relax more to tap what we got? And nice, Beth. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, how do we slow down more, pump the brakes, and realize, holy cow, I'm Obi-Wan Kenobi, Jedi style, or whatever metaphor we want to use?
I think for me personally, and everyone's different, connecting with nature is key for me. So when I'm feeling like really kind of wound up, I'll go to the beach here. The beach is incredible. The water is like bath water. So just getting my feet in the sand, looking at the horizon, it's calming. Watching the sunset, listening to the birds. I have these birds out in my backyard and they sing. And I read somewhere that the reason it's so relaxing to hear bird calls is that when a bird is singing, it means there's no threat. They're safe. They feel safe. So by listening to them and they're feeling safe, it allows me to feel safe. And I think that's, for me, safety is key. When I feel safe, I can create. When I feel safe, everything's fine. Everything's good. Nothing's bothering me. Nothing's weighing on me. When things are weighing on my mind, that's when I realized I wasn't tapped into my creativity. So I had this cough. I had been exposed to mold in Florida, and I had this cough that was going on for months, and I was worried about it. And that worry, I saw, it kind of froze me in a way. And as soon as I kind of got out of the worry and realized how I can address this cough, all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, here's my next book. I get the download. It was so interesting to watch that process for me, getting out of fear. So, and it happened.
Go ahead.
The download happened while I was having a massage. I was face down on the table, and I guess this just feeling of total relaxation. It was a lymphatic drainage massage, very gentle and rhythmic. And then all of a sudden it was like, that's where the download came in for the book. And as soon as I was done, I was like taking notes like crazy.
I love it.
Yeah.
for some reason, I'm asking this question, just rolling with it here. Can you talk to us about colors, whether it's on the birds, it's the jungle, it's the ocean colors, I'm going to make up a word as well, vivivity, the vividness of everything that you're seeing now, because in a way, you're seeing with all of you. How about that?
Yeah. No, that's true. You're right. It's not just visual. My dog's barking. Auditory. Hearing the birds, smelling the smells here, the flowers. I have an interesting story about my dog. I found this. I was on this chat before we moved here. It was last June, and I was on this chat where people talk about what they need or what they're, selling or whatever. And then someone posted a picture of this dog, and they said he needs a forever home. And I looked at this dog, and I was like, okay, that's my dog. So I write to her, and I said, I'm not going to be in Costa Rica until August. If nobody claims him or wants him, I would like him. And she's like, okay. So I get to Costa Rica, give her a call. She says, no one inquired about the dog, come visit. So it was a 2-hour drive. They lived all the way up the mountain, and we get out of the car and the dog doesn't bark. And she said, that's very unusual because this dog barks at everybody. So it's almost like the dog was like waiting for us, like knew it was, it was going to be ours. It was the craziest thing. So anyway, I'm talking to her, and we're finding out about the dog's habits and everything. And then she's looking at me, and she goes, gosh, you look so familiar. You look so familiar. I know you from someplace, and we couldn't figure it out. Anyway, take the dog home. And then she texted me and she said, we met 8 years ago at a workshop in Northern California. It's like, yeah, that was it. I mean, what are the chances of that happening? And this dog has been a godsend. He's the most affectionate animal I've ever met in my life. He's just like, he looks you
Share
in
the
the eye.
name of your pooch on air.
His name is Moochie.
Moochie. I love it. Hey, well, for folks at home, I usually don't get to get into pets at all, but pets and cats, dogs and cats have guardian angels if people can allow for that, and it's not a big deal. I mean, obviously they still represent humans and are doing lots of other stuff, but that's great to be able to listen. Like, you can listen to your animals, you can hear birds, you can hear trees. Not every tree is going to want to talk to you. Not all of them are totally kosher with just like hanging out with humans, but the more you just hug, touch, they ground. Can you talk to us about trees and the energetic feel you're getting from you have more trees than you know what to do with right now, right?
Oh yeah, the trees are incredible here. The thing about the land here is that, people have said to me, oh, you just stick something in the dirt and it grows. I go, really? So, we pineapple, cut the top off the pineapple, put it in the ground. You should see, they're like, I've got 8 of them growing. They're just like, it's amazing. So there's flowers everywhere. I'm just like looking around. We planted banana trees. They're growing. That's the other thing. It's like I'm planting food, so we've got a mulberry tree and lemons and bananas and mangoes. So it's fun. It's fun. I mean, it's like you plant it, you could eat it. I've got beans growing, and so.
Can I do something I have not done on the show? 50 episodes in 2023. We've got 116 booked into April of 2025. I'd love to show my energy on the show. You'll just see light between my fingers. After that, I'll probably put up an angel photo of Joy just to get a topic randomly from above or from within or whatever you want to call angels. But here's the dark background. A blue sky works fabulously, and people only have to breathe extra, be in their heart. You'll see a little filament of light between my fingers. I've been seeing your aura as we're doing the podcast, so that's been fun. In a second, I tell one quick dad joke, which is just, why did the rabbit fall down that well? He didn't see that well. You'll see a little filament of light between my fingers. And folks at home, you'll see, white, gold, green. If it's got any gray in there, just breathe a little extra, let go. It's like a blanket. It'll come off and it'll be a color. Beth, what are you seeing between my fingers?
I'm seeing electricity, like a silver electric, like, electric bolts, actually, and then a soft yellow, gold, pinkish.
Yay. You're not crazy. I'm not crazy. People play it back, but that should have earned a like, a comment. What have you loved about Beth's experiences shared so far? And we're about to get to a few more of those. I'll do a quick angel if I can find her. The very first angel people meet, named Joy. I'm getting a wind in the room right now, and I don't have windows open or the AC, so I'm freaked out at the moment. I react automatically, and I'm slow. 2 years for me to learn what everybody does like that. So angel movement of energy in the room. You can have a wind. It could be a Hawaii breeze in your hair. There's Joy. People can put their hand out, feel the vibe through 2 screens. Even if you're watching this in 2026, it doesn't matter. Time and space aren't what you think it is. But with your permission, Beth, what does Joy have for us all? And then get a private topic that'll relate to your reality and how you're helping others and what you can share with us next.
Joy is our birthright, basically.
But keep going. Take us somewhere.
Um,
And just in case. You got an out. This is like having her up on stage with you at South by Southwest.
it's I can feel it in my heart. It's an expansive feeling, and I think it really has to do with just not being afraid and going with the flow. So for me, I've moved so many times right now. So I lived in Northern California for 30 years and thought it was like the best thing ever. And then when COVID hit, everything changed. And for me personally, I didn't want to be around that energy of lockdowns and vaccinations and all that stuff, masks. And so we took a trip to Florida to check it out, and no one's wearing a mask there. This is back in 2021. I thought, this is a place I want to go. So I literally sold my home, and my partner at the time, he was on a houseboat in Sausalito, sold his houseboat. We moved to Florida, and we were there maybe just a year and a half, I guess. And then now we moved to Costa Rica, and we're living in this particular area. And I'm not loving it's too hot down here. So we want to move up, further up elevation to get breeze. So it's funny because my husband is like, we just got settled here. Like, it's like, I know you're right, but can't we just stay longer? And it's like, no, we need to go. We need to go. So I think it's kind of, trusting that this is going to work out, and knowing that how I feel energetically is important, and that it impacts everything. So.
Okay, and this is a total tangent, but I should have mentioned you've been on a lot of media shows: CNN, BBC, Martha Stewart Living, NPR, NBC, ABC, and it goes on. I'm going to put 2 more angels up for either private answers, encouragement to talk this sort of direction. An angel named Charlotte, who's a little bit older, words of wisdom for all of us to help us grow and expand. And get what you can get from her if you just want to get a hug. But I know you have no privacy. You're not getting judged. She's probably got a great suggestion for a follow-up topic. And I can hint, no try, like what Yoda says, but it's also always try, because it's not about the words. It's about being here. Can you talk to us about being motivated, how to keep moving forward on the path in life, not getting stuck?
I think every once in a while, I like to plug into Tony Robbins, for example. I did his fire walk, when I was running the Learning Annex. He came and we had like 3,000 people doing this fire walk. And it was very motivating for me because I realized, first of all, I thought it's impossible to step on hot coal. And I know they were hot. It was kicking up, the heat in my face. They just sort of refreshed the coals. And I thought, there's no way I'm going to do this. And, he told us this technique to use. And I did it. I walked across and I realized, hey, I can really do anything. It's really in my mind, the fear and letting that go. And so that was big. So I'm not saying to do these kind of big things all the time, but another thing came to mind was back in the 80s, I did an outward bound expedition where I had to climb 100-foot wall, rock climb. And, they put ropes on you and they belay you, it's called, from below, somebody down below. So I was very scared. I didn't want to do it. And I was like the last one. We started early in the morning. It's now hot. It was later in the day and the heat from the rocks was intense. And so everyone was encouraging me. So anyway, I got up halfway and I remember my fingers were bleeding and I just said, okay, I'm ready to come down. I got up halfway and I never thought I'd get up this high. I'm ready to come down. I'm good. And the guy below me says, why don't you just stand on your tippy toes and a whole new set of possibilities may open up for handholds and footholds. And then I decided to do that. And I just stood on my tiptoes and I saw another handhold, foothold, and got to the top. And I was kind of blown away. And I just realized that just an inch made a difference. And sometimes, changing something by very small increment can make a huge shift in your life. And so the reason I'm bringing up these stories about these big events is I think every once in a while, it's a good thing to do, is to get out of your comfort zone and do something difficult, really difficult. And I think that's one of the reasons I moved here. Like friends of mine would say to me, why are you moving to a place that's difficult right now? Like it's hard, it's challenging. I like easy, they say to me. And it's like, I feel like easy feels like aging, like I'll just get old and get complacent. So I like challenging myself. So that's kind of where I'm at right now.
I have a quote from a NASA astronaut, Story Musgrave, who said, getting out of the comfortable path. That's what exploration is all about. And I like that quite a bit. Okay. Can you talk to us about the dynamic that only every spiritual group, philosophical group, religion in a way sort of has talked about over the centuries? And that's getting out of here, getting to here, the act of being in the present moment where there is no time or space the way we think. It doesn't operate necessarily the way we think because it's not about thinking. It's about less thinking, getting here, full stop. The whole be here now, Ram Dass thing. It's like hitting a button, but we need practice hitting the button. It's like some of those self-help business people have talked about. If you do anything 1,000 or 10,000 times, you're suddenly an expert. You can teach, write a book, bestseller. But the point is, how do we hit our own heart button? How do we trust that that's where you want to be? Scariest place to be. Think about The Alchemist, talks about it. Esther Hicks, Abraham Hicks, Peaceful Warrior, the gymnastics movie with Nick Nolte in it. He says, the gas station attendant, the Mr. Miyagi figure, says it's the last place we're scared to go because it involves total faith and trust, non-religious faith, religious faith, letting go. And then there's still a fourth, I think it's Seth. Jane Roberts, the 1970s, talks about through the world through your heart into a broader reality. But it's the scariest leap to get out of all the details, being right or wrong, judging others, judging yourselves, being pretty harsh, actually, a narrow lens. Talk to us about that as the firewalking exercise.
I mean, I took a course, Academy of Intuition Medicine. It was like a 2-year program. We learned how to feel energy, see energy, work with energy, do hands-on healing and all that. Over that time, like the 10,000 hour thing, all of a sudden there was a shift, and I don't know what precipitated it, but I know that it happened. And I know that I started sort of making decisions from here rather than here. And I'm wondering whether it had to do with just focusing on that chakra a lot and all the chakras, that it, I spend so much time up here. And so when I had to sort of bring my energy down, bring it down, down, down. And so all of a sudden, like, it was like one day, my decision-making was coming from here. It's hard to describe, but I think that it was that practice, that the daily practice, the weekly practice of going to classes. And I know that, like, some of the exercises we had to do where we were tuning into someone else, we were taught never to tune in with this, to always tune in with the heart. And so it just became like it became a habit.
Mm. There's a guest on the show here who's been on, I think, twice, and then 3 times on panels. We do mind, body, spirit panels. People can check that out. We've had amazing people from all over the globe. But he talks about, he's a mindfulness meditation expert for 50 plus years, a remote viewer. He's taught at Omega. Paul Sugar in Scottsdale, Arizona, lives on Geronimo Trail. I remember the important stuff. He's fantastic, super open. Not his first rodeo, but what does he say? He says it's all about getting into your body more, and that alleviates half of whatever you think your dynamics are, your drama, my problem is, the situation, health stuff. And can you talk to us in your language about what does that mean? I mean, it's about obviously getting in the heart, into the body. The grounding thing is the best I can do. But when Beth Greer talks, it's beautiful. And you start to smile a lot when you're sharing a lot because you're talking from a place of experience. So you've got the floor, the mic. What are we talking about here? Getting into the body more.
Getting into the body. Yeah. Well, I think dance is a wonderful way to get into the body. So like free form dance, freestyle. They had something in California where I used to live, soul motion or 5 rhythms, where you're listening to music and just letting your body go. And I find that when I'm kind of in a stressed out space or whatever, if I move, and I like moving to music rather than just going for a walk. I mean, walking's okay too, although there's so many dogs out here barking that it's distracting. So I find if I could listen to some really cool music and move, and on Sunday mornings here, they call it a dance church, and people come and 2 hours, just sweat your prayers is another way of saying it. I really find it's a really great way to get into your body. That, doing yoga, qigong. So I practice qigong, and I was going to live classes in California, but the guy, his name is Ellie Cohn. He's got a Zoom class 3 times a week. So I do that, and it's been really great. Moving energy, feeling the energy. He says that qigong is not just about movement, but it's really about visualizing the energy moving inside your body, and to feel it and to pour it over you, and to really get, I find that qigong and dance are the 2 major ways that I can really get in touch with my body.
Oh, okay. I'm going to bring in 3 Native American chiefs, unconditional love figures, very down to earth, so much easier than angels to hear. Dull knife, wisdom with some humor, historical figure. If people at home don't mind putting their hand up, you can get a vibe that way, but ask for a hug down your back. And you can also get an, I was going to say auditory, but that's not it. Olfactory smell, scent in the air, 1 of 50. Tobacco, sweetgrass, juniper, pine, cedar, you get the idea. Sage. Ask him to bring you something, but you can hear wisdom from him. He's like a mountain range, great sense of humor. And can you have him extend out on what you're talking on in a way that, again, you can run with it? And what's he saying first?
Oh, he's saying have your feet on the ground in nature. I smelled tobacco immediately, but he walks on the ground, he sits on the ground, he is of the earth. Doing pottery, would be a cool thing to do. I used to do that in college. I haven't done that in a while. People love gardening, to get their hands in the earth and touch plants. And I personally like cooking. I like using my hands to make things. So whenever I, again, feel kind of stuck, I'll say, okay, it's time to bake or to cook something or chop something or peel something, you know what I mean? Just get your hands going on with food. For me, is very, very grounding.
And I'm going to remind folks, it's like a bird nest up here. You don't need to be in there. There's no reason to be in the bird nest, but you're going to still be up there 98% of the time. So to quote the blue ball light that was Charlotte, she said 7% less thinking a week, a day, a month, it's all the same. 7% less thinking is the equivalent of enlightenment or letting go, or the Olympic gold medal of chillaxedness, making up another word here. But 7%, that's an hour and a half a day. And next thing you know, you're Deepak Chopra. So good luck with that. How do you do it? Read a book, hug a tree, go for a walk, clay, pottery, touch earth, do gardening. Next figure is really down to earth. Red shirt, Lakota Sioux chief. He's wearing a U.S. presidential medal. Same thing if you want to catch more of a nature smell from him. He's so gentle that he doesn't mince words. He'll still do a little humor, but he's so soft-spoken. People really like him. And what are you getting from Red Shirt?
What I'm getting from him is poetry, reading, writing poetry, words,
Nice.
gentle words.
And last but not least, I've got Geronimo. And if you remind me, we'll do the Jaguar last here. But Geronimo, older picture of Geronimo. He's action, dry wit, humor. The first two are formal, proper, yes, no. But Geronimo, you'd think Mary, Buddha, Jesus, Muhammad, even doing God, all voices at once, angels, your guardian angel would be a big deal. Geronimo is super popular. So here he is. For folks at home, you should be able to really feel him. And he doesn't mince words. He comes right in like a lightning bolt.
Right.
What'd you get?
Power with compassion, kind words.
Oh, I like that. I like that. Okay. Oh, and Jaguar. Did you want sitting Jaguar, direct, like authentic presence? Did you want repose in the tree, or did you want moving Jaguar? We did this before the show, so we know the three.
Moving Jaguar sounds good.
Okay. And I say fluidity, authentic power, plus just connectedness to all. What's your interpretation, and what are you getting from Jaguar through the ether?
Right. I think I mentioned to you before the show that I went swimming in a river, and he is walking in a river. I mean, that was one of the most exhilarating things that I've done in a really long time, just being in the water, cold, ice cold water, bracing, exhilarating, and just fun.
Okay, I'm going to do another one of those quotes. A true healer kindles the power already within another. Can you talk to us about this dynamic of, in the West, in the US, the way our thinking rules the roost? We think we have a lack. We need to be somewhere else. We have to fix things. There's strict right or wrong. What else? We're basically above the neck. And what we've been talking about is getting down below. How can people trust more that they've got it all already, that the answers are within? Kind of the release from a lot of their stagnant situations is here. And, you do a lot of help for folks one way or the other. Can you share with us the Beth Greer coming out in the future a little bit more with the book? Talk to us about how your path is still expanding. Your role is expanding. How about that?
Yeah, it's to be determined. I feel like I'm the most calm. Like somebody said to me recently, you're the best, what did she say? You're the best version of yourself. That's what she said. You're the best version of yourself. And so she said, I can't believe how calm you are. And I didn't realize it until, she reflected that back to me. But I'm in this process of just having faith that things will unfold the way they're meant to, and doing things that I enjoy, and being productive, and being kind, and connecting with people, connecting with others that I want to be around is really key. I'm trying to remember the first part of your question was.
You're on your path and you're expanding. And the first part, just how can people trust more that it's here?
Oh, yeah. Right. Yes. I think it's by doing and focusing, if it could be daily, because it's not, I mean, for me, it took, a few years before as I mentioned, taking those classes, all of a sudden I realized the switch happened. But I think it's just it's the practice. It's doing it often enough that you become comfortable and realize that it's a better way to live. Otherwise, I think people who are watching this show are not going to have a hard time. They'll have an easier time than people who like, what the hell are they talking about? They're going to be up in their heads much more. So I have a feeling that the audience for this show is probably already there.
And I would add my 2 cents is just, hey, unconsciously, you're doing the greatest acts of letting go daily all the time. Your just brain is so strict and so scientific, whether you know it or not. You might be like, oh, I don't know science, I don't know math. But you're really, really tough on yourself. If you would just slow down, and your brain, your ego, your psyche doesn't want to give you any credit for even the act of the light switch on, or putting on your jeans, or taking them off, or just the act of maneuvering using 94 muscles in a quick succession movement. We could be talking flipping the pancake. It doesn't matter. Those are just incredible moments. It's the Thich Nhat Hanh pieces every step thing, where when you slow down enough, even just water coming out of a faucet, or Dan Millman in Peaceful Warrior, the shower scene, a moment of samadhi or satori, ego, the thinking, as one Jin put it, an elemental East Asian mysticism, ego is a waste of life. And guess what? We're all going to waste tons of life, tons of energy. I'm going to do thinking as soon as we get off today. Trust me. I'll react to something, worry about something. But the more you can just remember the action, the real life, all the moments you're going to remember as you check out on your last breath, not to put it that way, but it's all the positive stuff. All the moments you hugged your dog, you hugged somebody else, you appreciated something, you allowed for something. And Beth, that's what I've got to say. I'm seeing and hearing from you is the amazingness, the care that you're using, the cultivation you're using of allowing for more of those moments to come in. I'm excited to have you on the show talking about this. We are going to wrap up in just a second. I'm going to give you a quote from an angel named Dale, who coached a famous gymnast who won a lot of gold medals. But that's not important right now. Sometimes the person next to you or a stranger just needs validation via love and compassion. A smile changes any moment. So too does laughter or a few kind words. Be compassionate to all. Do it. Now, that's like dropping the mic. I think the expression is, how do we slow down a little more to actually take advantage of what that quote was about?
I think that gratitude, I mean, it may sound like a, very used word, but for me, really appreciating what I have has made a huge difference, really appreciating just the beauty of life, the incredible, like I used to make a list every year. I haven't done this in a while, but New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, take a look back at the year and write down all the amazing things that have happened, because we forget them. So I would take a look at my calendar. Oh, right, I went here and I did this, and then this happened, and then this happened. That was the day I did this, the days that the calendar was all, handwritten. Now it might be, you just have to look at your phone, but sometimes, the whole year isn't kept in the phone in terms of, the events that happen in your life. But I think that just looking back at our lives in time and just seeing how grateful we can be can make a huge difference in our in the way we treat ourselves and treat others.
Beautiful. Okay, you're going to have a chance in a second to wrap this up and share with us what you will. Maybe give us a hint about your next book that you're in the middle of, and what people can look forward to. How about that? But first and last, I'm going to do one more energy exercise. I've been really shy about this on the show. Maybe done this twice now, 3 times. And with your permission, I don't think we've done this, but I'm going to put my hand up in Texas. This is only my higher self. And really, it's angels, the unconditional love side of the universe, not my drama thinking. So if we do this and we connect hand to hand, it's the same thing at Beth Greer's end, but people can do this at home. So we're also putting barriers up for the audience as well. Just love, a compassion filter, hot, love and above. So with your permission, can you feel me in Costa Rica? To you and I, we're live right now, but if you're watching in 2027, you can still feel this vibe. With your permission, with my other hand, and it's really angels, the tiger from India that the Divine Mother rides on, action over there. I'm going to whoosh a little bit of rainbow light 3 times your way. The first 2 sandbag, just get a little ripple. The third, go big and let it wash you. Just think Kundalini, the Hindu chakras, love. So the first one, with your permission, is going to come through. Just thinking of an old bodyboarding experience in Florida. And here we go. And did you get that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Second one, a little bigger. And if anybody's got like a little work to do, you're worried about something, you know, you got to run an extra 5 miles, you're not looking forward to it. Let this help you over the fence. Again, angels, don't blame me. Just love, compassion, rainbow light. And you got that one okay as well?
Yeah, beautiful.
Okay, but now it's go big, go home, and you're already home, so let's go big. And let's let the Costa Rica land come in, Sri Shirdi Sai Baba. Let angels really do their jobs. I'm going to go a little quiet now. I'm going to breathe 3 times. And one more. And how was that one, Beth?
Beautiful. Bigger.
And do you mind using, since I'm learning as well, everyone's learning, growth and expansion never stops. What words would you stick to that? The third one, let's say, was it love, light? How do you, I don't want to sound too groovy and cliche here, but
It felt like love and expansion.
okay. Now, Beth, we know there's a book coming out sometime, you know, it could be next year, 2026 at the latest. And it's Supernatural Body. Tell us a little bit more about this new direction people can look forward to. You had Supernatural Home as your prior book.
Yeah, so the first book was really about the environmental toxins we're exposed to on a daily basis in our homes. But this new book is really about how, not only how we're exposed to these toxins, and then the abundance of toxins is in the past, you know, since I wrote the last book in 2009, how it's even expanded, and then how to actually get it out of our bodies, which is, we need to learn to stop intoxing in order to detox. So first discovering what we're exposed to, it's surprisingly things like in our natural supplements, for example, that could be impacting our livers, and our liver helps to clear everything out. And then ways to actually get rid of these things that are getting into our bloodstreams and making us feel tired, you know, achy, pains, gastric distress, all that stuff. People are hormonal issues. We need to get them out, right? And so easy ways to do that. So that's kind of I'm still in the planning stages, but that's kind of what the focus is. And I think that it's for people who feel like they've tried everything and they think they're leading a healthy lifestyle, and then they don't feel well, like what's going on. And their doctors say to them, oh, it's all in your head, which is a common thing. There's nothing wrong with you. Oh, you should see a psychologist because I think that's the reason you're anxious. And no, I mean, that could be part of it, but that's not the real deep down core reason for why people are not feeling well right now.
And I've got a very peculiar question to ask. It's out of the left field here, but rice. How should we be incorporating more rice into our diet? A certain type of rice, certain region of the world?
I eat rice all the time. Why
Yeah.
are you asking that? So
Just
interesting.
because, I mean, that's something that's been popping into my head the last week is I keep hearing more rice. I love rice-based dishes. I'm a runner for 40, I'm 56 now. So since I was 14, I'm running for 42 years, but rice is such great, for energy, but I'm a big curry guy. I have not
Okay,
figured out how to make my own curry. I wish I had 20 recipes right now.
right.
I have a huge room for opportunity for growth there. Talk to us about rice, though. Is there a
Sure.
bad type of rice and we should
Yeah.
avoid? And then,
A lot of rice is high in arsenic, believe it or not. And so the way to get around that, I've been making rice now like pasta. So I fill up a big pot of water, boil, and then add the rice and cook it and then drain it. So it's supposed to help drain any of the arsenic out. So, because usually when you make rice, you boil it and it absorbs and there's no water left. You want that water out. The other thing that I've been doing is I add some powdered charcoal to it. I've been using charcoal. Activated charcoal is a really good detoxifier.
it grabs the stuff and then you rinse it out before you don't need the
Yes.
charcoal. So, okay. Just making sure for clarity purposes. Okay. And again, one final reminder how much the body already knows what to do. Like if we went beyond words, you would be almost better off in a way because the body has such an incredible ability to fill in the rest of this if you could.
Wait, I don't understand your
Um,
question.
the body itself has an ability to heal. It already knows what it knows. It's got an intrinsic value to it that just knows how to orient and do things. That's kind of what we've been talking about this whole time. Can you
Okay.
remind us again how much it's not about the words, what other people are telling you? There's something else going on.
Yeah. So when we cut our finger, our body heals. And so that's what I realized, that our bodies have they are self-healing. If we get out of its way and stop gunking it up with all this crap that we're eating and drinking and think that it's healthy. And a lot of the stuff that people are saying or doctors are saying are healthy are not necessarily so good for us. So there's this theory, Dr. Garrett Smith that I follow, the nutrition detective, and he talks about the toxic bile theory, where we're so backed up with foods that are high in vitamin A, for example, that the liver gets backed up, and then the bile that's supposed to come out through your poop doesn't. It gets locked up in our livers, and if our livers are not functioning well, then we're not functioning well. So for me, it's in minimizing the bad stuff. So minimizing alcohol, for example, minimizing any kind of additives, preservatives, food colorings, artificial scent, just really paring it down so that our bodies can get back in touch with the way they're designed to be. And also these the patches that I was talking about on my website, truevitalityproject.com, you can read about how these light frequency patches can actually help you to detox and get stronger. So and help the body. The body heals itself, basically. There's nothing in the patches that heals, but it helps our bodies heal ourselves. And so by stimulating our own stem cells, which I think is key. People go and get injections of stem cells. I mean, they're a fortune, and we don't know where the stem cells are coming. Are they coming from embryos that have been discarded? So it's a really good thing. That's what I'm super excited about.
Good. Okay. Last item here on the podcast, Costa Rica. Leave us with one final mention about the ocean, the jungle, the flowers, the birds, something. Let's do an uplifting exit here.
When I got to the beach here, the jungle meets the ocean. It was extraordinary to see that. And there are monkeys and there are toucans and there's animals here that you only see on the Discovery Channel or whatever. And here they are, in my backyard, and I can see them. And scarlet macaws. They're these red, white, and blue birds. They're these giant parrots, and they pair up in a couple. And there's always two of them flying over at the same time, and they're squawking really loud, like, "I'm here." They come by like every day, in pairs. It's just fantastic. So that's what makes me happy, seeing them every day.
Well, I love it. Beth Greer in Costa Rica, thank you very much for being on Angels, Positivity, and Love. It was a real treat to have you on.
Thank you. It was great to be here.